Looks good to me. Shit. What's going on? I usually act like this is going to be a replay. So, I think it's a good idea. Um, I got to hoop tonight. That shit was fun, low key. I was up at Nebraska Wesleyan playing with some randos, and I had a good time. I was hooping. I'll probably put out some clips because I did low key film it. Just like put my phone in the corner type shit. And I think it was good for me to do that and hoop because I had two of my players with me, or two of the players that I train. Like, I had them with me, and they got to see like everything translate, and I think that's the most important thing is what you're working on going to translate, and so for me to be able to play with some of my students on the court, like they actually got to see it's like literally the stuff we were working on is the stuff that I was doing, and they got to see like the level of intensity that translates. And because like every rep I did during the workout was like I'm doing that rep intensely. Like I'm not taking that rep off, And so when the game got intense and I was guarded by like somebody that could play some defense, like my intensity was already there. I didn't have to turn it up or nothing. It's just like this is what I do at this speed, at this focus. And so if I do it with somebody on me, it's still gonna work, And I think it was important for them to see that everything I say like matters, and the level of focus that I put in on a workout is the same level of focus that I'll have if I'm playing a 5-on-5. Like, and I'm happy they got to see that because it matters to me, And I think I have to play more. And I think the thing is, a lot of people don't know this. Like, my feet hurt. Like, my feet hurt. So when I play basketball, when I work out and I come home or I'm like take my shoes off, my feet really do hurt, and so I can't just like do it all the time. Sadly, like I think I need foot surgery for real. But I can manage it. I just don't know how long I can manage it if I were to do something like that every single day. So that's just that's the thing about it. But I think in this one I just want to talk about like a couple themes that I've been thinking of, and as far as like my students and just people in general. And obviously I'm gonna answer some Reddit questions. I pulled that up, and so I think the first thing I want to address is like a lot of players, the tryouts are over and now they're on a team that they don't necessarily want to be on. Like they're like, okay, why am I on reserve? Why am I on JV? Why am I on this? And then it's like, okay, did you work out? Like, how much were you training this summer? Like, what did you do? You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people expect things to just be given to them. And I'm like, I told this to two of my students today, and I think like I've had this conversation with a lot of people in DM or whatever, and it's like work is required. Like, yes, you have talent. Yes, you can play some basketball. But to think that your talent is enough for you to not put in some work and then you get to school and you should just be on varsity, that shit is not real. Like, I don't understand how people think that. That shit is not real. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, for everybody out there, and you think it's a mystery to why you're on a certain team, think back to all the times this summer of like, okay, did I do this by myself? Did I go to the gym by myself every day? Did I really work on my shot? Did I really work on my game and work on my body and all these other things? And like, if the answer is no, why are you surprised? I don't understand that shit, And so I think, a lot of people just got to understand like talent gets you in the door, but work is fucking required for you to get with the thing that you want. There's no way around it. There's no gimmick, no trick. Like, put in the fucking work, you know? And so I think it's that simple for a lot of people. And if you do it if you actually do it and do it with a high level of intensity and like take it serious every day, you'll realize that almost nobody takes it serious every day, and you're going to pass them. And so it's like, you're already playing basketball. So why are you wasting your time if you're just not going to do the work to get to where you want? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are half-assing, or, they're half committed, but then they want the results of somebody that's fully committed. And it's like, just fully commit. You're already wasting your time half committed. You might as well just go all in. Like, it makes no sense, So, um, what's up, my guy? Am I ever going to try and review other people's game and give them advice on how the team can do better? Could work on. Yeah, I probably will. Um, Hmm. Like I do it for my students. I don't post their film, but we go over film and I show them like, yo, this is what you got to do, like yada yada and whatever. Um, and somebody did pay me to do that. Like it's a service that I didn't really want to put out. Somebody just asked me. And like for anybody that wants to know, I charge $150 to go over your film, give you a deep analysis, and then give you a custom workout plan. Like that's $150 for me to do that. And so I'll do it for $150. But other than that, I think I'm gonna do what I've been doing and probably break down different levels, like probably find a high school game that I can break down for the public, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to put my students' film and stuff out there when I'm breaking it down. And probably find like I'm gonna do a Euro League game and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as like if somebody wants to like ask me to do their film specifically, and like I don't separate it, so I won't just do a film review for the money. You know what I mean? But if you want an actual custom workout plan like designed for you and want your film reviewed, I will do that. But it's $150. Just being honest, because I don't have a lot of time, so my time has to cost money. So that's just kind of what it is. But then there's some times where I've done it for free. So it just depends on what mood I'm in. Right now, I'm not in the mood to do shit for free right now. But catch me on a good day. Maybe you'll get lucky. I'm gonna answer a first Reddit question really quick. And my phone's on low battery, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be on here. Cause last time it died, it was so hard to like get it like charged up and like figure out how to get the live to upload. So the first question is, how do you guys maintain confidence in a game when you're missing shots you usually make and generally playing bad? I think the key for that, in order to keep your confidence when you're missing shots, it really comes down to like just understanding you are not the person that's missing. Like people identify themselves too much with their mistakes. And it's like, why not identify yourself with the good things that you do? And this was a literal conversation I had with a student today. It's like, you're not the person that's like always messing up and you just had a couple good moments. It's like you're the person that has a lot of good moments and plays well, and sometimes you mess up. Like you got to flip that script and not think that you just always make mistakes or you're always flawed or all these other things. It's like, okay, Kobe shot bad before, LeBron's played bad before. Like all these players, they've had bad games. Like Steph's went 0 for 12 from 3 before. Like, but that's not him. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, at the same time, you have to go by the results. So like, if you can make shots and you always make shots, like it said, shots that you usually make, it's just like it's an off day. You know what I mean? It's not. There's nothing to get too worried about. It's just like, okay, I just had an off day. Like I get to play tomorrow. Like it is what it is. So I think just don't. I think just don't take it too personal when you do bad. Like don't judge it too hard. Just learn from it and just kind of keep it moving. But you have to act the exact same with your highs. And so when you do things really well, like don't ride that horse forever. It's just like, okay, things went great today. Like awesome. Enjoy it. Learn from it, or remember, okay, this worked for me and like I was doing really well and I did this, and then fucking move on. Like tomorrow's another day. You got to have to do it again, okay? And you know what I mean? So I think that's more of the approach, is just like don't care so much, learn from it and just keep it pushing, to be honest. What would an undersized guard need to do to make the NBA and thrive? Oh, this is a good question, because I just it's crazy how like I have all these conversations with my students and stuff. The one thing about undersized guards is you cannot be easy to score on. That's your number one thing. Like that's what all coaches are gonna look at. Are you scrawny? Like you're 5'8" and you're scrawny. Like how easy do you give up a bucket? You know what I mean? Like all the short players in the league, they're not just giving up a bucket like it's nothing. They're gonna put up some resistance. And so I think that's the number one thing, is like, do you have strength and can you get a real stop? Like, or are people just walking through you for baskets? Like that shit's already going to put you out of the list. And so that's the first thing. Secondly, you got to be a shooter. You don't have a choice. Like you're not going to be a 5'8" dude attacking the paint, all types of shit. Like that's not real. And so you have to be a knockdown shooter, like can't leave open shooter. That's the next thing. And then the third thing, as far as being undersized, is obviously you got to show some toughness. You got to have speed. Like your skills, like somebody said, the smaller you are, the better you got to be at basketball. That's just facts. You know what I mean? And so Giannis doesn't have to have like elite handle. He doesn't have to have an elite jump shot because he's athletic and he's 7 feet tall. But if he was like 6'1", you better believe he would not be in the league if he could not shoot and like do all these other things, you know? And so I think that's like those are the things that you just need down pat in order to make it. And you gotta pick up full court on defense. Like that's not even a question. And so yeah, I think with those three things, like you give yourself a chance, you know? And another thing about it is you gotta have like good moments to where you do something amazing and it's like people see it and it's like, okay, like he's got something. Like you gotta have a moment to stand out. You know, that matters a lot. Whether you're undersized or not, like that matters, you know. And I always go back, like the stories I always tell is think about how LeBron became the guy. Like he was in the league killing, right? But he wasn't like the guy until what? He ran a 25-0 run on the defending champion Pistons and then, you know, went to the finals. That made him the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you're taking down the Pistons by yourself, dropping 25 in the Palace, like against like Rasheed Wallace and all these dudes. Like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did Kobe become the guy? You know, it was my low battery thing hit, but how did Kobe like become the guy? Shaq went down in the playoffs and they needed somebody to get buckets, and Kobe stepped up and dropped 40. And so, and it was Shaq's like foul trouble, right? I think it was against the Pacers, if I remember right. But after that, Kobe was the guy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, moments, you need moments. Like Steph Curry, he crossed over Chris Paul. He dropped 54 in the Garden. He beat LeBron in the finals, propelled him to the top. Kyrie Irving, verse 73-9, best team of all time, drops 40 in a game 5 when they need it, hits the dagger in game 7 to take him down, propels him to the top. He was not up there before that moment. Think about what I'm saying. And so like these moments matter. Like when opportunities present themselves for you to take down top dog, you got to be ready. You know, I think that's important. Like people underestimate how important that is. But think about it. Like go back and think about it. How do all these dudes become the guy? They take down the other guy. Think how quick Steph Curry jumped to the top. Like there was already, I'm trying to think who's in front of him. Like obviously Chris Paul was in front of him. I wish I could remember that era a little bit better. Like it was at a point where Steph wasn't even playing fourth quarters. Like they had Jared Jack closing him in the clutch. Like all these types of things, bro. And you know, the fact that he just leapfrogged everybody so quick. Like he passed up Dame and all these other dudes who was hooping. Like John Wall passed him up. I'm trying to think who else was like Isaiah Thomas passed him up. But it's like when the opportunity presents itself, you gotta be ready and you gotta take down whoever that person is or whoever that team is and like show up and let people know because everybody's showing up for the other team. And so, and this was perfect. Like Iman Shumpert said it perfect. I gotta find that clip, but he was like, "Don't worry about being the man. It's like when you see the man, beat the man." Like that's the game that you gotta play. Like that's the game in basketball. Like the reason you become the number one player in the country. T-Mac said it. Like he showed up to the camp unranked or whatever, took down the guy. You know what I'm saying? And so that shit matters, dude. Like that shit matters. So be ready. Let's see if we can get something else off Reddit. And if you're in the chat, how many people we got in there? I can't 6. Yeah, if you got a question, just hit me up, you know. So here's another question. Thank you, I appreciate it. I need help. I am 13 years old and I live in a town about 5,000 in the Midwest part of Missouri. 6'2", 195. That's literally how tall I am and how much I weigh. I'm not fat though, and I'm the only starter that is not allowed to push the ball down court. If I get around, I would like to do a few drills. I think you gotta put yourself in an environment to do that without coaches. So like the thing about being allowed to do skills in a game and being comfortable with that is you have to go and do it when you're not being coached. When a coach can't control whether or not you're able to do those things, or a coach can't take you out of the game or try to criticize your game, you got to go work on that shit and then try it against like open gym setting, go against real people, but without the pull of the coach right there. Like that is so monumental for so many people. And if you're not able to put yourself in an environment up to where you could just hoop freely and like no one's really controlling the outcome or controlling what you can and can't do, then it's going to be hard for you to gain skills and, be comfortable with trying new things when you get to an actual game with coaches and refs and all this other stuff. And I think for me, like the reason I'm so comfortable doing pretty much anything in in a game, let alone practice or whatever. But the reason I'm so comfortable doing all that stuff is because I've done it a million times over against people in a 5-on-5 setting without being stopped by a coach. So like by the time I get to the coach, I don't care what he's talking about. Like I'm going to do the skill that I know how to do. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's one of the most important things is like go practice the skill on your own, whatever the skill is. Like he wants to dribble the ball down court. What drills? There's no drill. Dribble the fucking ball down court. That's the drill. And so go and practice that, and then go and try it in a 5-on-5 where it's just open gym. Go to the YMCA, go to the rec, whatever, and then just hone that skill. And then game time comes, you'll probably be confident enough to do it. So that's my advice for that, and that's my thing for training in general. It's like you got to get literal. I think when people ask questions about training, they are not being literal enough. Like so many people are like, how do I work on a left hand floater? What drills? There is no drill for that shit. Like go and do the left hand floater. What do you want me to say? Like do a 360 fucking push shot? Like I don't know. People y'all got to get a lot more literal with your training. Be so literal. If you can't shoot a one dribble pull up going right, go to the gym and spam it until you get it right. That's how I learned. Like that's what I did. And I think I was 16 going on 17. Going into my junior year, I could not shoot mid-range jumpers. Like my pull-up jumper was ass, and I was just self-analysis. Like nobody told me that, but I just remember every game my sophomore year. It's like every time I got a mid-range, I could not make it. And so all summer in my driveway, I was spamming dribble pull-ups, and then come back my junior year, it's my best shot. To this day, it's my best shot. But that's the formula for, skill gain. It's like do the thing, spam it, get it good, learn the technique, and then you're good. Like there's no extras to that shit, you know? What's your opinions on players developing alter egos for basketball? Um, I like it. I like it if you need it. Like I like it if you need it, to be honest. And that's crazy because I was gonna tell somebody else that they should do that. I think developing an alter ego in basketball, like if you for me, I didn't need it because I was just so free and I'm already competitive and like, when I turn it on, I'm on. Like when I was playing tonight, like with my students and we were up at the gym just playing randos 5-on-5, like I was locked in. You know what I mean? So I know how to turn a switch on and like go full focus and it takes me like 3 seconds to get there. Like or actually now it's like I was kind of bullshitting at the beginning because I'm so rusty. I haven't played in a long time. So like I turned the ball over and like lost it, and somebody blocked me because I just wasn't focused enough to change my layup. But then after that moment, it's like okay, I have to lock in, and then I just turn the switch on and I go. So for me, I don't need it, but I think if it helps you get into the mode of like whatever, however you need to feel, whether that's joy, whether that's just like seriousness or whatever type of focus you need, like I'm a fan. Like why not do that? I think just whatever helps you, perform, do it. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Um, and I might have, do I have an, I am different on the court a little bit. I'm hyper competitive on the court. Like I will destroy my friends. You know what I'm saying? But they would do the same to me. And so I wouldn't expect anything less from like the people I call my friends in the basketball world. Like they were trying to embarrass and destroy me. I remember, but I was trying to do the same to them. Like I'm gonna destroy you. I don't care. Like, but off the court, I'm cool. Like you know what I'm saying. But just in that moment, it's like I don't care about none of you. You know. Um, any tips on finding a higher level runs in the new area? It's hard for me to find the right level of comp. Just keep going to different gyms. Like that's the best thing you can do. And then when you meet somebody that's like really good, like just talk to them. Be like, yo, where do you play at? Yo, and then like, yo, do you go to any other open runs? Like, do you do this, whatever? And then they might be like, yeah, we go and play on. And if you're good, like if you're both good and you talk to them and like you know that you're both competitive and on a similar level, um, ask him if he hoops at any other open gyms and then like show up to that one and then just keep meeting people. But I think that's the key is it's like go to any open gym, talk to the most competitive and the best players because 9 times out of 10 they're gonna know a different place to hoop if they're in, if they're in their in the groove of playing, like if they're in the season or in the off season of some type of season, whatever. Like, yeah, I think just networking and it doesn't have to be like the idea of networking is not like people make it so weird to where it's like you're just going and shaking hands and like my name is blah 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 blah. But it's just like just talk to them and be a regular person. Be like, yo, where do you hoop at? Like, do you play college? Like, do you play at any open gyms? Just be a normal person. And then the more you do that, the more you'll find open gyms. Honestly, like that shit works. Let's see if we can get another another question on here. There was another thing I was gonna go into. There's another topic I wanted to go into, but I cannot remember for the life of me. Let me think. Oh, okay. So there's one thing I remember. So I just realized how important middle school basketball actually is. Like, cause for me, I never thought. Like, I was just like, okay, it's middle school basketball. Like, who cares? But it actually is super important when it comes to developing you and getting you ready because there's so many players now, especially in my area. It's like there's a lot of freshmen on varsity now. Like that was not as common when I was young, you know what I mean? Like there's a couple spots here and there of like freshmen on varsity, but it wasn't like the amount of kids on varsity that are freshmen now in my city kind of amazes me. But then I was like, hey, what were these kids doing in middle school? And it's like, oh, like they were actually getting ready for that shit. Like they weren't just out there doing whatever. And like for me, I didn't know any better, but I was just out there doing whatever. And then when I showed up, like I don't think my body wasn't ready. I wasn't intense enough. Like I had an insane amount of skill as a freshman, but like I just mentally was not prepared to play a varsity level. Like I could play the varsity players one on one and beat them. Like I had done that, but like in a game setting of varsity intensity, I just was not ready. And I think if I could go back, like I just didn't know any better. I would go back and like put myself in environments that are insanely competitive, like way more competitive. I think I needed that, and that would have made me so much better, and I would have hit the ground running in high school. So I think like middle school basketball is important, bro. And I'm about to actually start a middle school academy, because all the kids that I've trained in middle school are now in high school, besides two of them, which they're gonna be good. Um, but yeah, I need a new crop of middle schoolers. Got to get them right. How do you know when to move while working on shooting? I hit so many set shots at the same spot in last count, but I don't know if I'm good enough to go to a different spot or add jumping into it. I mean if you're hitting so many, just change it, bro. Like to be honest, if you're hitting so many spot shots, like I think you just got to have a number and just move on. Like be like, okay, I'm going to make 50 spot shots and then I'm moving on to something else. Like you don't have to master one thing in order to move on to the next thing. Like just work on it and then okay, you worked on it. Next thing. I'm gonna work on it and just every day, like I would say pick like 3 or 4 things. And you should be jumping at this point. If you're hitting so many spot shots and you're not jumping, yeah, you need to go ahead and jump. Bro, like shoot jump shots. You know? You're not gonna go 100 for 100 before you move on. What do you think is an underrated, highly neglected part of actually getting better at basketball? Experience. The thing I just talked about with the middle school thing. By far, so underrated. Like, real competitive, consistent experience. Like, that's probably number one. Because it matters, man. Like, it fucking matters. The fact that I played against so many high level players in my life and really good players that have like been all Americans in college, or I played against a lot of Division 1 players. I played against a lot of professional overseas players. Like the fact that I've done that, and if I go to an open gym like I just was tonight, like I'm going to be the best player on the floor unless you've done the same things I've done. You know what I'm saying? And so like you could train as much as I train, but if you don't play against the people that I play against, it don't matter. You know what I mean? And I think that's real. Like experience is real. The fact that there's NBA players, like I could almost guarantee you, I had more skill at 17 than some NBA players have right now. And it sounds insane. Like that's an insane statement, right? But me at 17 years old going into 18, like I could make any shot and my handle was on par and I was strong as fuck. Like, everything I was lifting was over 200 pounds in any capacity that you wanted to twist it. And so, and I was like 6'2", explosive. I could dunk. Like the amount of skill I had at that age is more than some NBA players, more than a lot of professional players right now, right? But the fact that they played higher levels of competition and they got the experience and their coach let them be free in more moments than I got to be free. And, they've been at all these places and played all these different people. Like, if we got on the court, they might have an edge on me because they just been through tougher shit, And so, like, I think that is like top of the list as far as what matters, And as far as like actually gaining skills, the basics, bro. The basics. Like, one of my students just told me how important it was that we worked on the fundamentals all the time, and he's able to like handle the ball, go left, go right, finish left, finish right, just easy shit, right? And like handle pressure and like know how to get out of it and use his crossovers and different things and shoot the ball, like just like the easiest shit. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the spammy, scammy trainer world where 3 moves to do this, 5 moves to do this, new move, and it's like you don't even understand the basic principles of attacking. So I think just spamming the fundamentals, doing it over and over and over and over. One dribble pull up going right. How many times can you do that? Two dribble pull up going right. Two dribble pull up going left. Like, is your shot accurate? Can you shoot a set shot? Like, if somebody kicks it out to you, how automatic is that? You know what I mean? Like, when you're dribbling, is your dribble low all the time? Like, that's the one thing I stress more than anything when it comes to dribbling. Like, keep your base wide, stay on balance, dribble low. I don't give a fuck what crossover we're doing. Those things matter, right? And the fact that we did that for what 4 years now, and he's probably, once he starts to get stronger and his movement gets a little bit better, he's going to be a varsity player as a freshman, in the next coming months. And, he's on JV right now. Those things matter. You know what I mean? And so the combination of those two things, like, and I think the thing is he didn't get the same experience that he needed playing the highest level of competition in middle school. And so that's the only reason he's actually not a varsity player at this point. Right. And so those things, they both equally matter. And so now that he's going to get the experience and practice with the varsity and do all these things, like he's going to get better. You know what I mean? But his skills are on point. And so you need both those if you want to hit the ground running on a high level. Um, but that's pretty much all there is to it. It's just fundamentals, basics, balance, base, dribbling low, shooting well, and then experience. Where do you think your game needs to work right now, for you to improve noticeably amount? Me personally, my shooting, because I haven't shot, and so like I haven't consistently gone to the gym and just worked on my jump shot, and so it feels off, and so I just need to like spam some form shooting every day because I don't like my set point. Like when I go and shoot, my set point's to the right more than I want it to be, and I want it to be in the middle because it's more comfortable for me to get it in the middle. But my muscle memory, like it brings it up and it brings it too far back to the right, and I need it to be here. And so that's for me. That's all that's left as far as that. And other than that, like I got to get my body right. Like my body's just not ready. If I were to go play like a 30-game season or something, my body's not ready for that. So yeah, those two things probably. Uh, how important do you think it is to watch NBA players as they were coming up and didn't have as much freedom in their role? I mean, there's not There's not a lot of NBA players that didn't have freedom in their role. That's the thing that makes them. And so the thing that made me really good, I think, was the fact that 9 times out of 10, I'm trying to even think, like my role was never diminished. You know what I'm saying? But I actually had the skill. Like you have to have the skill. If you have the skill and your role is diminished, it's because you probably don't have guts. Like you don't have the guts to go out there and shoot a shot that you've been practicing. Like I told one of my students, like shoot a step back. Like shoot a step back today. We worked on this shit. Shoot a fucking step back, please. So she win the game and she stepped back. It was this fucking far. But I was like, okay, I'll take it. You know what I mean? But it's like the guts to go and do the thing that you've been working on, regardless what anybody has to say on it. Like that matters. You know what I mean? Um, and so if you don't have freedom in your role, especially at a young age, you need to go somewhere where you do. But then you also have the skill. You need the skills in order to, you know, back up the wants. Like you can't just want all this shit and then have no skills. Skills pay the bills, bro. Um, so I haven't. So this one's a Reddit question. So confidence issues. So I haven't played organized basketball in a few years, and I already know where this is going. I had my first rec game last week. I was expecting to score like 10, 15 points because that's what I was putting up in scrimmages. But it's like I can't relax in the game until I score. I'm so worried about getting that first bucket that I didn't even score once. I'm also scared of messing up. If I miss 2 shots in a row, I don't want to go for the third and piss off my teammates. Yeah, this kind of comes back to like there's too much outside influence. You're being influenced by a result. You're being influenced by the thought of your teammates being pissed off. You know, you want the bucket so bad. Like all these things, people let all these things get in the way of their just game in general. It's like none of this shit matters. Like if your teammate gets pissed off, it does not fucking matter. I've been yelled at by some rando at the Y because I missed 9 shots in a row. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna shoot the 10th. Like you know what I'm saying? But he said he hadn't played basketball in years. You got to understand, skills come first. There's no way around it. There's no gimmick to the thing. You can't be, surprised at some shit you have not practiced for 3 years. Like, why are you surprised you didn't score a fucking point and you're anxious? I haven't played in 3 years. That's like, I don't even know what to, I don't even know what to compare that to. Like, just not doing something for 3 years and then jumping into a competitive environment and expecting it to go well. That's not realistic. That's like me saying, okay, my skills were sharp and I used to practice every single day and I was 24 years old and I was good as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And my body was ready. And it's like, it's expecting that to go from that to me to just go to some pro combine and play well or go to a G League tryout and play well. Am I good enough to go and do decent and play well? Yes, but it's not going to go well because I'm not ready. Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like fucking get ready, you know? Um, yeah, the alter ego thing. Yeah, trash talk. I love trash talk, but I only do it if somebody talks to me. Like, I think it's fun. Honestly, like, it's just competitive nature. Like competitive nature, that shit matters. Um, and this is okay. This question I want to address that I just scrolled past. I'm not gonna actually answer it, but it's just like I gotta get a point across. So the question goes: is dribbling with a plastic bag around my basketball a good idea? That type of question, like when you can go do it, why ask other people if it's a good idea when you can just go and do it and figure out if it's a good idea? You know what I'm saying? It's like people would rather get so much input on something they can do tomorrow instead of just doing the thing tomorrow. It's like I don't give a fuck if it's 10 people could tell you it's a bad idea and then what? Are you not going to do it just because somebody told you it was a bad idea? But then there's 10 other people that probably did it. So it don't really matter. Like questions like that, I think a lot of people got to stop asking such self-answering questions. Like just go and try it or go and do it. I think the hard part is the internet is so open and there's so much information coming in. It's too much. And so it takes away. It's like They get paralyzed by choice. That's a real thing in business. Like if you have too many options on your website for people to click on, they won't click on anything because it's too much. So if I sold 10,000 things, what would you buy from me if I sold 10,000 things? I don't, fuck if I know, right? But if I sell two things, it's like, okay, I can buy this or I can buy this. You make a choice. It's easier to make a choice when there's lots of options. And so the internet has tricked us out of just going and doing things. We always think that we got to like figure some shit out or ask other people or watch 7 videos on how to do something instead of just like going and doing the thing. You feel me? And so, yeah, I think. And also, my phone's about to die, so I'm about to be like 2 more minutes because I don't want it to die. That shit was a hassle last time. Anytime you get a block, I'm saying something. That's funny. And people are asking about zone defense. I can't answer zone defense questions. Like that shit is up to your coach, depending on where he wants to put you. You can overload, you can high low it, you can set picks. I don't know. That's why I never talk about zone defense. It's just what's your coach want to do? Is he smart enough? And it's just find the gaps. It's the zone. There's areas where gaps. And this is like another one. Would you consider Jimmy Butler a scorer to study for scoring in the mid range and at the rim mainly? It's like if that's what he does well in the playoffs, which he's shown to do, study it. It's like it's self answering. And I think this is why I don't do like beginner content. You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. I'm gonna do these every Sunday, by the way. Every Sunday, probably 9ish p.m. I think is a good range for time. Maybe a little bit later, 9:30. That's probably too late. I'll probably go 9. I think 9's a good time. Yeah. I want to answer one more good question. How to get better, or how would one deal with trying to get better while coming back from injury? Focus on your body. The body comes first. Mind first, body second, skills third. So if your body's not right, you're wasting your time working on skills. If it's not like, because you can't push yourself. And so, I think that's the first thing. All right, this is the last question that I'm gonna do. And I like the streaming model. Like it feels better than just like setting my camera up and talking to a camera. I like the feeling of I'm actually talking to real people, and then I'll just get to clip it up and other shit. Like I think it'll be fun. This is my last question. So I'm getting worse, or I'm getting in my own head. School season just started for me in the past 3 weeks. I feel like I've been getting worse, playing a lot worse than I usually do. During club a couple months ago, I was an important player in a star team, and now that it's all over, I have this high school basketball. My high school team is so much worse than my club team. I'm still the star player, but the problem is I'm playing bad and only scoring 10 points. I feel like I should score a lot more since I'm on a bad team. Get a lot more. They get smacked by 30 every game. Yeah, okay. Being the best player on the bad team, a lot of people think that they can do it. A lot of people think that they could just be the best player. And I'm telling you, that shit is not what it looks like. It's like a business, right? Everybody thinks like owning a business is cool. Like I want to own a business. Like I want to be my own boss. Do you? Do you want to do accounting? Do you want to do marketing? Do you want to acquire customers? Do you want to work 12 hours a day? People don't understand this all this shit. I trained this morning for an hour and a half. I just trained 2 kids for 2 hours. I'm on the stream. I have to make TikToks tonight. I have to edit my website tonight. I have to edit an interview I did tonight. I have to edit clips to put on my Instagram. I got to figure out how I'm going to write a really good YouTube video and get good at YouTube. I don't get paid. You got to fucking try to try to be Mr. Do It All. That's what it's like being the best player on the better team. A lot of people think that shit is sweet. Not even a little bit. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Yeah, my stream fucking died. I got to start charging my phone, obviously. But, yeah, I'm going to do these every Sunday at around 9 p.m.-ish. I'll probably just call it 9. That's going to be my goal. I was doing Sundays and Wednesdays, but I don't want to do Wednesdays anymore because I have too much other stuff to focus on. And so I'm gonna just leave Sundays for training my in-person students and doing the live and editing videos and stuff. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna leave it with. Next Sunday, 9 p.m. See ya. Get in the gym.